this is a pretty unique thing. There are other coaches that critique us, and we get those critiques every week, and we work with those critiques to make us better. So all the coaches and judges around here, your help proves that speech is alive and well in Central Illinois. So thank you very much to all of them too. Every year we have a bunch of speech alums who come back to coach at camp and during their college breaks. They and the ISU speech team and their head coach Megan Cook for all of their help over the last 6 years. Thanks to them too. The best coaching staff in the state. That proves it right there. And last but not least, the whole team. With all the drama and anxiety, thanks for trusting us in our judgment. I love it when a plan comes together. It's like there's a plan or something. So thank you very much. That's enough of me. How would you like to see a couple of these champions speak? First up, our own Ben Edwards. Sam the Cat.
We good?
Yep.
Before we begin, I would like to give a hearty thanks to Mark Adams. This team would not be the same without him, and UHI would not be the same without him. So let's give him a great round of applause. Feel free to laugh, cry, or do whatever, all right? My girlfriend Louise and I went to a party, mostly advertising people I knew from work. It began late and followed a long day where all I wanted was a simple meal in front of the television. But I knew I'd hate myself if I missed it. Things happened at parties which your friends talk about for weeks, sometimes years. You can't miss them. You can't get in on a great joke after the fact. Oh, the party was in a refurbished warehouse. There was a band in one corner and a cash bar. I was mad at myself for going and pissed that I brought Louise because she didn't know anyone. So we started bumming cigarettes off people, and if they said yes, we'd ask for 4. And then she waved to this chick who was heading over to the bar. I couldn't see because of how dark it was, but she stood over 6 feet tall, with long jet black hair. She had on blue jeans and a t-shirt. Those sharp hip bones you can feel right underneath the bikini. I wanted to have a chat with her, so when Louise went to the bathroom, I hustled on over to the bar, wangled up to this chick, whipped out my best head-faking grin, and it was a man. Poet Audre Lorde developed a continuum of sexuality, which states that the vast majority of people lie somewhere between fully heterosexual and completely homosexual. Although society generally pressures us to identify as either straight or gay, life's courses sometimes lead us down unexpected paths, and our reactions to these new and unfamiliar stimuli often shock us most of all. Sam the Cat by Matthew Clem. He had some high cheekbones. Maybe he could be one of those handsome, pretty male models. I don't know. I'm not an expert on how guys are supposed to look. Up close. He did need a shave. When Louise came back, I told her. Not that I went running over there, but that when I saw him out of the corner of my eye, he looked like a chick. I'm such a turkey sometimes. I don't know why the hell girls go out with me. I mean, I lie, I cheat, I can never remember the name of her best friend, and I hate to dance. I will. I do often. I can't understand how bad I am. It's like the worse I act, the more people want to be around me. That night, I went home and shut my eyes and tried to sleep. Except there was this guy the guy who looked like a chick, walking around the party in my mind, and I saw how his jeans stuck out a little. Somebody stop me! I was horny. I was so horny I couldn't believe it. I just kept thinking about his jeans in my mind. He was sort of a woman, but what do I want to say here? I made myself make love to Louise. I didn't want to, and she was the very picture of unconscious, but I had to. I'm a man. Any man would have done the same. Now what? Was I all of a sudden gay? What? I went to sleep one night and woke up a homo. A few days later, we were having drinks at Sid's, and the guy came in, the blonde on his arm. Louise, of course, waved hello and offered him a seat. His name was John Draper. He was a house painter. He ran his own company, and he played in a band. He seemed like a pretty cool guy, very normal, acting with those light, pale blue eyes. Later, we were lying in Louise's bed getting reacquainted when I wondered whether anything in my house needed painting. And I saw his pants again in my mind. He was wearing different ones that night. Khakis. And you could tell he was very slim and in good shape. There I am, thinking about a man, queasy with the weirdness of it. It felt like I was 12 again. Caught my mom's closet. I thought the cops were going to come in and bust me. Because they should have. John had given me his card, so on Sunday I left a message on his machine that I wanted to talk to him about a commercial he had in mind for the country western thing. I said we needed a band and I'd call him that night. Hung up fast. That night I was getting more and more worried about making this call, but I finally did, and John answered. Hey, John, it's me, Sam Beardson. I left that message on your machine. Oh, yeah, sure. What's the word? Well, as I mentioned, our creative director wants to use Western music on this Juan's Tacos frozen food ad. Tacos? So should I write a song about tacos? No, don't do that. That was your girlfriend I met the other night, right? Oh yeah, women, it's a crazy thing. I could write a book on everything I know about women. I should have you come over tonight and I give you my full explanation. What? I should write that book and give my full explanation. We said a couple more things and then I hung up. After work the next day, I drove to the mall. Bought some navy pants made of thin material, and then I got hair gel and a cream that's supposed to tone your skin. I called John that night to follow up. Your band is great. Thanks. So your office got that demo? The way you sang on it was terrific. You could sell anything with that voice. Could I ask you a question? Shoot. Would you come over tonight so I can make you dinner? This isn't about the tacos, is it? I can make tacos. Are you gay? What? No, of course not. Forget it. Forget what? Lately, it seems I can't get close to anyone without offending her or him. I tried to call Louise, but she takes the phone and she puts it near the blender I gave her last year. Set on crush. It sounds like. Of course, Louise still turns me on, but what do I do? Go over there half game? Start kissing her? What am I saying? This would all be easier if I were married and had kids. But who would I marry? I'll tell you who. Myself. With my cat, Skippy, as the mascot. We could sail around the world together. I'd give him a little yellow rain suit. Man the missing mast, Jeff, for a little while. Grab me a halyard. I would love to see you going. Because maybe out there, I'd come across something, anything I could understand.
Speeches are ranked 1 to 6 in a round. One, it's kind of like golf. 1 is better than 6. And to go straight 1s in a round is very difficult to do, especially when there's 5 judges. This year, there was only 1 competitor that in an individual event that went straight 1s in finals, and it was Allison Ovenmoken. Here's the
Fellow Senate representatives, it has come to the attention of the administration that our school's clubs have forgotten the true meaning of acceptance, specifically in the case of Becky Johnson. She's in tons of clubs, she acts, and she fences. But without fail, every time she joins a team, they bench her because of one tiny little detail. Becky has a peg leg. And sometimes when she fences, she uses her leg as a sword. Which is weird. But let me make my point even clearer. Last week at Becky's theater audition, they cast her as a pirate before she even recited any lines. The play was Dreamgirls. Then she went to the Wilderness Club where they posed the age-old question, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck Becky's leg? What I'm starting to find is that even though Becky is a member of all these clubs, nobody really accepts her. This unique combination of injustice and insensitivity Becky faces is what we would refer to as tolerance, or as I like to call it, society's 50-year-old Band-Aid. We adopted this term at the dawn of the Civil Rights Movement and used it as a solution to remedy prejudices among peoples. Unfortunately, this undercover hate philosophy created more problems and solutions, and we're seeing the effects of this in this school today. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Becky is imaginary. She's the product of my dreams after some bad Mexican food at NyQuil. I'll try it. But I had a dream. And it was way too weird not to share it with you guys. So today, with the help of Becky, we'll examine the causes, effects, and solutions of ripping off this crusty Hello Kitty Band-Aid that we like to call tolerance. Okay, so I dreamt Becky decided she was going to join the rock climbing club. But unfortunately, her peg got caught on a slippery rock and it snapped. Poor Becky. Unlike her leg, she just can't get a break. Causes. There are 2. First, we assume the fight for civil and political rights is over. And second, we perceive tolerance and acceptance to be the same. First, society is functioning under the assumption that the fight for civil and political rights is over. We've created the illusion that the hard times are over. We have a black president now. Racism doesn't exist. There's no need to sympathize towards differences. A study conducted in 2011 by psychologist Sarah Conrad suggests our growing emphasis on the self corresponds to the devaluing of others. That is, if it's not about me, then it must not matter. Similarly, if Becky breaks her peg but nobody hears it, did it really break? It did. All in all, we are so focused on ourselves that we aren't even cognizant of the happenings taking place outside of our lives. Second, we perceive tolerance and acceptance to be the same. The United Nations defines tolerance as respect, appreciation, and acceptance for our world's diverse cultures. However, when used in a social context, this word carries negative connotations. The real definition of this word is by Merriam-Webster, stating tolerance is the act of allowing something, meaning we need permission to be ourselves. Basically, tolerance says, girl, you smell like a cheeseburger. Well, I guess you can sit at this table. Whereas acceptance says, girl, you smell like a cheeseburger. accommodations for those with wooden appendages, so her doctor gave her a Band-Aid. At this point in my dream, I was so incensed, I turned to the doctor, morphed into Little John, and asked, "What?" Okay. What? Okay. Facts. First, we use tolerance as a Band-Aid, and second, we've become satisfied with tolerance. Similarly to Becky's faulty doctors, we use tolerance as a Band-Aid. This post-civil rights mentality has created the beginnings of an even bigger wound. German writer J.W. Gutau once said, "Tolerance should be a temporary attitude only." Also Schnitzel. We never actually remedied any of the original problems that still exist today. African-American teen Trayvon Martin was shot and killed in his own neighborhood. Women make 77 cents to every male dollar. And I can't leave my house without people wanting to touch my hair. The problems we created then still exist today because we never fixed them. Second, we have become satisfied with tolerance. In a separate study conducted on May 29, 2010, psychologist Sarah Conrad asked questions regarding family, friends, and people less fortunate than themselves, and compared answers of students in the 1970s to that of students today. In the final stages of her research, Conrad found a 40% drop in empathy among today's students and their counterparts of 20 or even 30 years ago. 20 years ago was the 90s, and if we are less sympathetic than the grunge kids of the 90s, we failed. Our implementation of tolerance has ironically created the intolerant and judgmental society we live in today. If you're wondering how my dream ended, it went a little like this. Gandhi, or Oprah, fell from the sky and started singing this. What if Becky was one of us, discriminated like all of us? It was at this point in my dream I realized I got incepted. It was at the same point in my dream I realized two solutions. First, educating ourselves, and second, appreciating each other. First, realizing that tolerance and acceptance are not the same thing. We can do this personally by taking the initiative to educate ourselves. Motivational speaker Wayne Dyer states, "The highest form of ignorance is when you reject something you don't know anything about. The reason we tolerate things is because we are too passive to actively learn something new. So go open a book. Find out about your friend's religion. And somebody please go find the book on Kwanzaa, because what is it?" We need to be like that one girl in college who tries everything and then gets a well-balanced education in liberal arts and science. I know where you thought I was going with that. But get your mind out of the gutter. I'm a lady. Our prejudices are a direct result of ignorance. And if we eliminate ignorance, we are on the road to fixing and ultimately solving this problem. Second, appreciating each other. We can only solve this problem through a direct overhaul of our social skills. In the midst of accepting her TED Award in February of 2008, world-famous author, scholar, and former nun Karen Armstrong puts it best when she says we need to move past toleration towards appreciation. In doing this, we have taken a giant leap for humanity and an even greater peg for all the Beckys of the world. So today, we have examined the causes of this intolerantly tolerant society, the effects of our 50-year-old stinky, snaky Band-Aid, and solutions that will lead to a more accepting society. Just by being here today, we are on the road to fixing and ultimately solving this problem. And just so we're clear, Becky isn't an amputee. In my dream, she was born with her peg leg. Becky is a metaphor, a way for us to talk about the problems plaguing us today, because sometimes it is hard to talk about the things that make us all different. Leaders, Becky represents all of us. She represents misfits, outsiders, cute black girls with afros. Fellow Senate representatives, our progress this year starts and ends with teaching students that we are all equals. Although Becky isn't a perfect metaphor, she helped us peg this issue pretty well.
One of the things I think that people don't understand is, first of all, there are no classes in speech. It's everyone against everyone. And secondly, we're a small school. So we are, I mean, this is fantastic to be able to bring this up. This isn't really just about speech. I mean, this part is definitely. But I hope you guys realize how much we appreciate you and all that you do for the school and how you come together and you work together to be successful. And that, I mean, just being able to collaborate and everything makes our school what it is. So we appreciate that. We're going to wrap this up with our band playing the song. Speeches, if you could walk out while they play the school song, and everyone needs to stand and clap. This is a school. Get up. Get up. Thank you.